Hi, welcome to Mark's Basement Arcade. Today we're going to be assembling the pop bumpers for the Bally Night Rider. Now what was nice about this, these were replaced at one time. All these were replaced at one time, but they weren't really rebuilt. These were just destroyed, nasty, not yuck. So we're going to go through and rebuild them because now they're all cleaned. We'll do like one pop bumper, and then we will I'll rebuild the other ones, and then we'll flip it over and do the back half with the coil and everything. So right now I'm just going over these springs. These springs are totally 100% reusable unless they're broke. But I like to go over them with the green scrubby just to clean them up a little bit. And also too, I've been reusing the light sockets. One, these are better than the aftermarket ones, and two, these are better than aftermarket ones. I only don't reuse them if they're broke now. I used to take these and throw them out. I can kick myself in the butt for doing that because these just work so much better. However, these need to be modified. See how this part right here is bent like that? We are going to change that. To be somewhat more like that. And we will change the focus on it so you can see it better, like that versus that. I will show you with a light bulb. I'll put the light bulb in. You can see no matter how it wiggles, this bar is still staying tight on it, and we're getting a perfect contact. Actually, I want to tighten that up just a little bit tighter. Just a little bit. There. Tight like that. Get that in there. There, like that. Now, wherever it moves back and forth, it's still got a tight grip. Versus this one, it's only got a tight grip if it's that way, but you know how pop bumpers are violent, they move, and look at that, that's all wiggly. Versus this one, which is tight in there. See, and that's how I modify them. So we'll take this one out, and we'll bend it and modify it. I know a lot of people are just like, bend the sides and it will hold it in tighter. Well, yeah, it kind of does, but the sides are never the problem. It's this bottom which is the problem. It's a problem every single time with light bulbs. It's never the side without bad contact, it's the bottom. You can see no matter how I wiggle it, this thing on the bottom is pushing up on the bulb, and you're always getting a great contact. But what I do with these too, I also take them and I Dremel them out really good. So we got a good clean mating space on them, and my phone's blowing up. And we put those in like that, and then we're done. So let's get to the assembly. Alright, let's get a new pop bumper in. So I got this one rebuilt already. I tested the bulb. You got to use shorter LED bulbs. So I used these longer ones, and these don't work well with the caps. The cap actually won't sit down. But there is a mod. I'm just dropping everything. There is a mod I developed. You can take a Dremel, and where these are poking out, let's focus, manually focus. This part here, where this is poking out, you can see how it's standing up right here. You can take that and grind all that down flat with a Dremel. Grind it down real flat, and then take a little bit out of the bottom, and then this bulb will actually set down in that socket further, and then you can get a bigger LED into there with the cap. Now these, there isn't really too much of a problem. These are different bulbs I've been using. These are called Retro SMDs by Comet. These give the glow like a regular old glass bulb, like one of these. It gives like the same glow as this, and they're like the same height and everything, but these are just a little bit longer, as you can see, and it's just enough where the cap won't fit on all the way. But as you can see, this was close enough originally for that old bulb to melt the cap, which happens on all these. That's why no matter what you'd get on one of my games, I always put LEDs in the pop bumpers, so that never happens ever again. So that's why we got that there. But that mod for the bulb usually affects the mushroom style bodies that are like on a Grand Prix, a Williams Grand Prix. Those bodies, they can't accept bigger bulbs in them because the way they set. So if you grind that down, you can actually put a LED in one of those, and it won't affect the cap. Let's get back to regular focus. Alright, we're going to rebuild that. We've got two rebuilt, two assemblies rebuilt. We're going to show you how to do this. First thing, the chrome ring. We're going to put the chrome ring on it, like that. Next, we're taking the skirt. You get the two holes on the edge, and then the four holes that are on the center. These two holes right here slide over that. Now you can see, if we keep this together, you can see how these fit in there. So now we can keep that together. We're going to drop this spring, goes down the middle of the skirt. Now if you notice on here, you got these two bump outs and then these two holes. They line up where these two bump outs here snap on to the two little ones right here, and then these just go over this one and this one. Well, they don't kind of like snap together, kind of like a pressure fit, like that. It's a tight pressure fit, and that is what allows the skirt to always spring back, like that. That's what allows that to spring back. And then next we'll take the bulb, drop it down through there, and it sits in there ever so nicely. But this one we're going to have to put a little bend to it to get it kind of like want to lock in. I kind of want it to lock in a little bit, so when I stick it down there and flip it over, it holds itself in there tight. Kind of like that. Since I'm reusing these. They're a little soldered up. There. That just gets pressed down into there. Now you got the wires that poke up. Now that, these two right here go into these holes. These two little holes here are for these two holes in here that you can see through. Those are for the screws. So this will just sit down perfectly like that. Just like that. And then we'll put the screws in. These are special screws. These are wood screws. How they got the like edge on them. Again, we will manual focus. Ooh, there we go. They're beveled like that or whatever, so they can fit inside these holes. They're like, you can see how it's like concave a little bit right there. So this fits down flat into the hole and keeps it nice and tight. There. So put the two screws in. Now remember, these are going into wood, so we don't have to crank them down real tight. Just get one started. And of course I would do that. Alright, we'll do that then. I like to crank them down a little bit at a time, just to make sure this whole assembly sits down nice, flat, and flush. That's solid. This ring will come up when we install the other assembly. This is all nice and flat on the playfield, so we will do that again to these other ones. We will do that. Get the screws in. Two more screws. And then once we get those in, ooh, come on, we will flip it over and mount the rest of the pop bumper assembly. We'll get the wires soldered on for the lights, and then we will have perfectly working pop bumper assembly. So let's get this flipped over and get these assembled. Alright, we got the playfield flipped underneath upside down, so we're going to get the switch off here and get it out of our way. We have to readjust this anyways, so it's good to have it completely out of the way. Put that there. This can go out of the way. Now you notice we got our two wires. One's right here and one's right here. These are for the light bulbs. I want to pull them up to make sure they're up all the way. And then I'm going to bend them outwards. Like that. Now we can solder them back on. These we will sort of fix out. Get them so they're flat together. You can probably twist them a little bit too. Once I melt them, they'll be good. get some more old flux on there I have to scrape off. I mean, not flux, solder. Like I said, this stuff will wreak havoc if it drops down onto a switch and gets into anything. It's just not good. No good. Alright, I have to get my soldering iron closer. Solder. And then this. Let's get a little bit on here. This one will just drop right down on top. There, that's back on. You give it a good tug. It's not going anywhere. This one is going to be a little more difficult. All this, I kind of want to melt together. We gotta let that cool down a little bit. Let's make sure that's soldered. Oh yeah. I'm gonna take my little tool and pull on it. Alright. Now, two parts that we really need to be important about soldering these together is that when we put this back over the top, none of the wires will bump these, and they shouldn't, but we can kind of do a little test. And they're kind of free and clear, except for this one's just, I don't know, it's too messy. I might have to get my pliers and smash that up a little bit better. It's just like too clunky. It's separated enough, but it's not as like I would like it to be. Yeah, that's a lot better. I smushed up the contacts and got them squeezed together. Now this will put a little solder on. I couldn't hold it with my fingers down. It was so hot. There. Now let's touch it. These wires just get hotter than hell because they're not coated with plastic. So when you touch them, they do get hot. As you can see, that's why I had to let them go and I couldn't solder it correctly. Now this one, I put it down. It is now totally away from everything. Now we're going to clean the spoon off of this. Did I clean all these switches too? I did clean them all, which is nice. clean the spoon off. Then we got to realign the switch, and I will show you how to do that. Alright, that's clean. Now we're going to realign this with the center of this, which is fun to do. It can be really hard and it can be super easy at the same time. I'm going to make it look a lot easier than it really is. Oh, I just heard it drip. Alright, I gotta find that screw. I just dropped it on the ground. We'll be right back. That literally took me a second. I probably didn't even need to shut the camera off. Ugh. Alright. Alright. There. Now we got that loose. And what I like doing at first, I like taking this spoon, holding it down tight, and then turning the first screw on the switch tight. And then that usually gets it perfect every time. That's perfect. By pushing on this, you're kind of like holding the switch stack where it needs to be, and then by tightening each screw, the front one first, it usually will lock down this whole switch assembly so it doesn't wobble and wiggle like it shouldn't. Alright, we have to adjust that switch. If I can find my switch adjusting tool. Did I put it away last night? Of course I did, because I cleaned up my tools. So I put everything away that was in my way. This is why I need to clean up my room. Really need to clean this area up. Alright, now we're going to adjust switches. Next you're going to bring this down a little bit. And this top one down. Now we are closed, which we shouldn't be. I know this is very hard for me to show you how to do this with the camera up. Yeah, we need a bend. Oh, wrong switch, dummy. Just adjusted one that I wasn't even working on. Let's bring this one down a little bit. Bring this up. Alright. Why are we focusing on the wrong one? There. I will try to bring you down a little closer. As soon as I can get that. Actually, let's turn the camera off and I will bring you as close as I can. Alright, we're on this switch. What I want to do, you can see that there's a little gap right here between the two switches. Now when I go underneath, I'm sorry, you can see the gap closing and the switch moving. Now what I need to do is this switch is a little crooked, actually. It is bending down. Instead of being straight across, this one, it's actually nose diving down a little bit. So I want to get that flat. So when I hit the play field from the bottom, it's got a good close. Side, other side, and top. Now I got probably like 2 business cards thick opening on it, which is really good. Yeah, it's close to 2 thick. If you took a business card and folded it in half, gap right in here, and that's what we want. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's put this pop bumper body on. And you can see the rest. There we go. Now you can see this switch right here is open, but when the pop bumper activates, it activates that switch. That's what we want exactly. And that is bent like crazy. It's got such a bend right in here. Very poorly adjusted. Right down in here, the switch is just like bent crazy. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I'm going to try to get it as good as I can. Now I want to take this and let's see if I can move it up a little bit. Okay, we'll put a little more tweak on this. There we go. Can you see this top? Yeah, no, it's kind of hard. But can you see this top switch bend up a little bit? It's getting a good contact now. It's doing that little wipe I tell you guys about. And that is good for longevity of the switch, where the switch will clean itself as needed. Now we will put the screws in that hold it down. Everything she does, wrong screwdriver. These are just lock washers. Lock nuts, nylock nuts. That's all these are. It's a nut with built-in nylon in it. Sorry for blocking you, but these are hard to thread. That's all it is. These you just tighten down. They're tight and they're done. No real torquing. Just tight. Give it just a little snug. That's what brings the ring up. another nut here. These I just use a 5/16 nut driver. Tighten them down. And that's it. That is a fully rebuilt Bally pop bumper that is now working correctly again. I like how that just has just minimal movement. I can always tighten that up too by going like this. Give it a little bend down so it's a little closer. Now when this is up, if I pull this up, see how the bottom switch comes up a little bit? Now we know we get an excellent contact. That's perfect. So if you like the videos, give a thumbs up. Let's get this back off of manual focus. If you like the videos, give a thumbs up. Probably some cool stuff across the bottom here, swag. If you want to help out Mark's Basement Arcade, donations, anything. Please like and subscribe, and take care. Later.